Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on the channel. It has been a while since I've done a football related commentary video. I did one sort of compilation highlights video, but other than that I haven't really been active on this channel as much as I was during the footy season really, so I thought I'd get at least one or two trade period videos out since it is the trade period now and we are halfway through the trade period. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to be discussing all of the happenings of the trade period so far and also the free agency period, maybe discussing a few potential deals for the rest of the trade period as well. I'll just go over who I think has really won and lost the trade period so far, and yeah, I will just give my overall thoughts on the trade period as a whole. So without further ado, I say we get into a breakdown of this year's trade period, and we'll start off with the first move, and that is Aimon to Hawthorn. So as I just mentioned, the first deal of this season's free agency period, this was not part of the trade period, was Aimon moving from Port Adelaide to Hawthorn. I definitely think this is a very good thing for Hawthorn. They really haven't had any good wingmen on their list for a while now, and Aimon, he definitely fills that hole. He is one of the best wingmen in the competition, one of the most underrated players in the competition. I don't see him get much media praise at all really, but he is a very handy player, a very good ball user, a very good kick of the footy. He seems really silky smooth in the contest. He just always seems to be able to sidestep and slip his way out of tackles. He's able to get forward and kick a few goals. So I think a very handy pickup for Hawthorn. But on the other hand, for Port Adelaide, this leaves them with a bit of a hole in their wing stocks. They don't really have many other good wingmen apart from Aimon that I can think of off the top of my head. He would definitely be their best, and I think this is a blow for Port Adelaide. Not catastrophic, but I think they would have rather keep him. So the second deal of the off-season was actually a trade. This happened on the first day of the actual trade period. That was Bobby Hill moving from GWS to Collingwood. They also got pick 43 Collingwood, but I don't think that really matters too much. In return, GWS got pick 40. I don't think this is too much of a loss for GWS. He's shown that he has some potential to be a great player in the future. He's taken a couple of really great marks over the last couple of years. He's had some pretty good highlights, some good goals, but he's not really a best 22 player for GWS, I don't think. He so far hasn't had a season where he's kicked more goals than games played. He averages less than a goal a game, so I don't think it'll be too big of a loss for GWS. Potentially a handy pickup for Collingwood going into the future. If he can really improve, he could be a great small forward for them. And I don't think this is it's sort of a win-win trade, I think. Now, the first major deal that happened this trade period was Tim Taranto moving from GWS to Richmond. Tim Taranto is a pretty good midfielder who can play a bit of forward and kick goals. Been a very handy player for GWS for quite a while now. He got offered a 7-year deal and he went to Richmond. So in return, GWS got pick 12 and pick 19 in this year's draft. I think the 7 years is a bit overkill. He's a good player, no doubt, but 7 years, that's a bit overs in my opinion. Especially seeing that they're also trying to get Jacob Hopper for 7 years, which I think is even more ridiculous. Put it into perspective. When Dustin Martin was last out of contract, they offered him a 7-year contract on over $1 million a year. So they're theoretically rating these players almost as highly as Dustin Martin, which I think is just a bit strange. I think this will hurt GWS in the short term, but they get pick 12 and pick 19, so yeah, that'll be quite good if they can make some good selections in this year's draft, and should hold them steady for the future. Next player who left the Melbourne Demons as a free agent is Jade Hunt. He moved to the West Coast Eagles. This trade is definitely a win. Well, not a trade, but this free agency move is definitely a win for the West Coast. He's a handy halfback flanker, can also play on the wing. Well, I mean, West Coast, they don't really have many good players on their list, so they need some good players, and Jade Hunt is exactly that. He's a good player, a bit of an underrated player. Yeah, he's served the Demons well for quite some time now. Melbourne only got pick 52 as compensation, so I think, yeah, that's a bit rough for them. He's definitely better than a pick 52, in my opinion. So yeah, definitely a win for West Coast this one. The next trade so far in this trade period was Blake Acres moving from Fremantle to Carlton. This was a trade that was fairly big. Most people knew about it. Most people knew it was going down for a while. As soon as the season ended, he requested a trade to Carlton. He got his wish. Fremantle only got a future third round selection for this, so I think they got absolutely scammed. Blake Acres is definitely better than a future third. Yeah, this is definitely a major win for Carlton. They needed another good wingman. They recruited Adam Chera last year. They got Blake Acres this year. That list, Carlton, is looking very nice indeed. I think they should they could really push for a flag in the next couple of years, especially if they make finals this year and even win a final. They should realistically make top 4 of the list. They have Carlton, and Blake Acres, I think, is a very handy pickup for them. Arguably one of the biggest deals of the off-season so far was Brisbane Lions player, or former Brisbane Lions player, Dan McStay, moving to Collingwood as a free agent. This was known for quite some time. We pretty much all knew it was happening during the regular season. It was just a matter of time. And then as soon as Brisbane bombed out of finals, he made his decision on where he wanted to go to in 2022. That is the Collingwood Magpies. He's going to be a very handy key forward for Collingwood, since Collingwood really don't have any other good key forwards right now, or at least none that are ready-made, ready to go. So McStay, while I don't think he is the greatest player of all time, and I think a 5 years contract is a bit overkill. He's not that good, but he's going to be very important for Collingwood for right now and going into the future. He's one of the last holes on their list is filled now with the inclusion of Daniel McStay. They probably could find another key forward that because McStay, at Brisbane, he played almost like a link-up half-forward type role. Of course, he also was a key forward. He could take big clunks, kick some goals, but I think, important for the Pies, but I don't think their key forward problems are completely solved now. Next move was Liam Jones going from Carlton to the Bulldogs. Now, at the start of the year, he did actually retire because of the AFL COVID vaccine mandate they put in place. However, that got lifted and he decided to make an AFL comeback after missing the year, and the Bulldogs signed him, which was actually his original club, so he's back where he started. I think this is a very good pickup for the Dogs. He is one of the best defenders in the league, in my opinion, and the Bulldogs are absolutely crying out for a key defender. Their key defensive spots, their stocks, I should say, are actually honestly some of the worst in the league. Their defense in general is just terrible, and Liam Jones is definitely going to fix that. Carlton, because he was still technically on their list, I guess, they did get compensation through pick 47, which I don't think is enough, really. He's better than that. He's one of the better defenders in the league. So yeah, big win for the Bulldogs this one. The next move that was made, another free agent move, was Zane Cordy going from the Bulldogs to St Kilda. It's an alright pickup for the Saints. I mean, I don't think he's going to do a whole lot. They probably do need another key defender for depth. They don't really have the best key defenders in the league, I think that's fair to say. The Bulldogs actually didn't receive any compensation for this since they'd already signed Liam Jones, who is a much better player than Zane Cordy. So the AFL must have just decided, you know what, you don't need any compensation. You already got the compensation that you needed and more. So I mean, I guess that's a fair call. Liam Jones clearly much better than Zane Cordy, and I don't know if I'd really call this a win for the Saints, since I don't even know if he's going to play every game. They do have a couple of other key defenders down there. I guess he'll come in if one of those are injured. The next deal involved 2 players moving from the one club to the same club. North Melbourne signed both Darcy Tucker and Griffin Logen, as well as getting a future 3rd round selection. In return, Fremantle got a future 3rd, a future 2nd, and a future 4th. I think definitely North Melbourne are the winners of this trade. They get 2 players. One of them is more important than the other. Griffin Logen, they signed him on for something like $800,000 on a long-term deal. Yeah, he's a good utility player. He can play as a forward and as a defender. Darcy Tucker's not too much of a loss for Fremantle. Yeah, good deal for North Melbourne. I don't think it's going to immediately take them off the bottom of the ladder, but it should help out their list at the very least. Next trade was Ben Long moving from St Kilda to the Gold Coast Suns. Long came alongside a future 4th round pick, while St Kilda got pick 32 in this year's draft as in return. I haven't seen too much of Ben Long play. I think he's a fairly decent player. I don't know if he'll play every single game for the Suns, or if he'll be used as a bit of a depth player or what. Yeah, I don't really know too much about Ben Long. I assume this is probably a win for the Suns. I haven't really seen anyone bash this decision, so I think it's a good one. But again, I haven't seen too much of Ben Long play. Another player moving to the Suns, Tom Berry. He was playing for the Brisbane Lions, but now he is at the Suns. This one's a bit complicated since there are a lot of draft picks involved, moving from both Gold Coast and Brisbane. I have it up in front of me now. Let's see if I can get this right. So Gold Coast received Tom Berry, obviously, a 3rd round pick, which is currently pick 46, and a future 2nd round selection. Brisbane received 2 2nd round picks, currently 25 and 36, and a 3rd round pick, currently 56. Okay, so yeah, a bit complicated. Again, I don't think Tom Berry got too many games for Brisbane, so maybe he'll get a better opportunity at the Suns. We'll wait and see. A lot of draft picks. I don't really know who won out this trade. Probably Brisbane. They got a fair few draft picks from this, and he wasn't really playing many games on their list anyway. I don't know if because there are a fair few midfield spots. To be honest, I don't even know if Tom Berry plays midfield or not. I've never seen Tom Berry play at all, so yeah, I'll leave this. I'll leave you with that. The next move of the trade period was Josh Corbett moving from the Suns to go to Fremantle. He fell out of favour this year after having a pretty decent 2021 season. I remember in the 2021 season, whenever I watched Gold Coast play, or if I just were watching the scores of a Gold Coast game, he always seemed to bob up for at least 1 or 2 goals. This year he fell out of favour with Levi Casbolt and Marvia Chol coming in. In return for this trade, they got picked for a future 4th round selection, so Freo didn't really give up much to get him. It kind of reminds me of how cheaply they got Will Brodie last year. I think Josh Corbett could be a very good pickup for them. Their forward line, it's not looking too crash hot at the moment. I think Corbett, he should get pretty much, I think he should slot into their best 22 fairly easily, and I think he could I think he could have a very good season next year. I think he's a very underrated pickup. The final trade that has been completed as of recording this video was Tanner Braun moving from GWS to Geelong. In return, GWS got pick 18. They are going to have a very stacked draft hand this year. I think they've got 5 top 20 picks as it stands in this year's draft. So they could have a very stacked list in the next 5 or so years. Although all of these players leaving is definitely going to hurt them in the short term, I think they could really plummet down and hit rock bottom in these next 2 years, especially before they rise right back up into contention. But yeah, Tanner Braun, he's definitely not the biggest loss they're going to suffer this year. Hasn't really done much. He's still a young player. Geelong need a few younger players on their list. So yeah, I think this is a win-win trade. Geelong get a younger player on their list to develop going into the future, and GWS get another high draft pick that they can use in this year's draft. So anyway guys, that'll pretty much wrap up today's video. Hope you did enjoy. If you did, then please consider leaving a like and subscribe. There were some things I didn't mention in this video, like the pick swaps. I may do another video which does include the pick swaps. Some other trades that haven't happened so far that probably will go down in the second half of the trade period. Josh Dunkley to Brisbane Lions, although there are some rumours circulating that that may actually not get done, and he may go to like the pre-season draft to get picked up by another club. Isaac Rankin to the Crows. Luke Jackson to either Fremantle or the West Coast Eagles, most likely Fremantle, but I've heard that the Eagles aren't completely out of it. Also Brodie Grundy to Melbourne. They're all the major ones I can think of. I know Jack Gunston to Brisbane, that's another one. Yeah, there's definitely a few more to come, but for now that'll wrap things up. And yeah, like I said, please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.